Hi, welcome back. This week we're going to look at Chapter 6, Social Networking, Mobile Commerce, and Online Auctions. The online web communities are not limited by geography. Individuals and companies with common interests meet online. They discuss issues. This is something that organizations will do, have meetings online instead of having to travel to a site to have a meeting. Companies will make money by serving as relationship facilitators, which combines the internet's transaction cost reduction potential with a communication facilitator role. These are just a couple of ways that we go from virtual communities to social networks. A virtual community is a gathering place for people and businesses with no physical existence. If you've ever done a GoToMeeting or a Zoom meeting, that's considered a type of virtual community. This began online even before the internet was in use. There was something, bulletin board systems, which allowed users to connect via phone lines to read and post messages. And most of them were free, but some of them charged a fee. And we had used news groups, which they were message posting areas, and there was a set of interconnected computers that were devoted to storing information on specific topics. Usenet news groups are still around. Substantial social interaction with communication and relationships similar to physical communities. That's what a virtual community would be. Early web communities, 1985, we had the Whole Earth electronic link, or well, this was bought out by Salon.com in 1999 and continues to operate as a monthly subscription service. In 1995, Beverly Hills Internet, a virtual community site. This was a site that offered free web space and links, offered webcams, and this grew into something called GeoCities, which was then purchased by Yahoo in 1999 for $5 billion. But this closed down in 2009. And I remember GeoCities, but yeah, I've been around a while. 1995 to 2001, other companies offered similar advertising-supported virtual communities. And then these communities evolved into social networking sites that emerged in the late 1990s. Some other ones I can think of, there was a service called Prodigy, where it was a subscription service, but you could log on to it and read different things and play very basic games. So, as the internet and the web grew, many communities found their purpose as a place to share online communication. It kind of faded away a little bit. Now we're looking at social networking sites. They allow individuals to create and publish a profile and a list of other users with whom they share a connection. If you think about Facebook, or there's some other, originally we had MySpace. Social networking sites allow individuals to control the list and monitor similar lists made by other users. So early social networking sites would include 1997 Six Degrees, Friendster in 2002, Tribe.net, and MySpace. And if you're over the age of probably 24 or so, you probably experienced MySpace. Facebook emerged in 2006 and just overtook MySpace, and it became the leading social network site worldwide. There's more than 1 billion users, and they have 6 billion in revenues. There's some other sites. LinkedIn is a site that's designated to facilitating business contacts, and that's something you should definitely get plugged into, is LinkedIn, as you continue your educational process, and then going into trying to find some type of employment. And Twitter is also a site that allows users to send short messages, and they're called tweets. Basic idea behind many social networking sites is that people are invited to join by existing members. Some social networks focus, they have actually specific interests. I think Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat. Websites containing individual commentary. This would be what's called a blog or a weblog. This is also a form of social networking. Twitter, again, that's a very informal microblog with tweets that's limited to 140 characters. There's lots of different blogs out on the internet. Many of them are geared to specific topics such as politics or things like that. Blogs can become businesses in themselves. There's blogs can actually generate money through fees and advertising, and so you might become a blog writer and actually get paid. Traveling internet connection opens up social media possibilities that integrate with a user's specific location. If you think now, Facebook, you can log in or put in a site if you're at a restaurant or something like that. Now we've also got a lot of different types of GPS software that we can download under our phone. Like Waze, the Waze app helps you when you're traveling. There's also shopping sites. Craigslist is a social shopping site. It originally started out as just information resource for San Francisco residents, and of course, it's expanded. Etsy, it's a place to buy and sell handmade items. Poshmark is newer, but it's you hear a lot of it lately. It's devoted to women's clothing and fashion accessories, and usually it's resale of these items, and it's optimized for mobile phone users. You also can look at social media through virtual learning networks, distance learning platforms such as Blackboard. You're using Moodle. Um, there's Canvas. There's quite a few different ones out there. Moodle is one that happens to be an open source software, which means that developers can actually access the original code and make improvements. In the late 1990s, revenue created by selling advertising came about. It was used by virtual communities, search engine sites, and web directories. And this is where these sites started to make money. Facebook, if you've ever been on Facebook, you know that you get these pop-up advertisements, or as you're scrolling through something that looks like it's directed towards you. And every time that comes up, somebody's getting charged for that. Mobile commerce, we're seeing more and more of this, which is allowing us to work from our phones and other tablets. It uses something called SMS, short messaging service, which is also called texting, and allows mobile phone users to send short text messages to each other. United States developments allows phones to be used as web browsers when that occurred in 2008. High-speed mobile telephone network availability has grown dramatically. As there's a definite demand for that. Now we have internet-capable phones. They were first caught on in Japan and Southeast Asia. Of course, now we're looking at using those constantly. In the U.S., the introduction of smartphones and high-capacity networks began appearing in 2008. Apple iPhone and Android phones, they were two of the first ones that actually became what we would call a smartphone. Tablet devices are smaller than a laptop computer but larger than a phone. If you think of an iPad, um, they connect to the internet wirelessly through phone carrier service or through a local network. And most of these nowadays you use a touch screen. And here are just a few examples. Mobile device operating systems. Apple and BlackBerry use proprietary operating systems, which means those operating systems were designed, for example, Apple, they designed it. No one can make any changes to it. Open source software developers can make changes to it. Um, so, like Androids will use an operating system provided by a third party. Google's Android is the most popular and fastest growing third party open source operating system. Then you also have a Windows phone, which uses the Windows operating system. Today we use mobile apps. Mobile apps, you can go to the Google Play Store or Google Play. They sell apps, or the Apple App Store. Many of them are free. You can download them, but then also some of them are for sale. Some media sites offer free access to online content through apps, while others will actually charge you. Now you do most of your banking. You can do most of your banking through an app. Hospitals and clinics are providing apps to give doctors information for treating patients. If you've a patient at St. Elizabeth, they use something called MyChart, and there's an app for that. Mobile wallets are mobile phones that function as credit cards. It was originally in 2004, developed in Japan. Since then, we've got access to it. We can use Google Wallet. Starbucks has one. There's Apple Pay, I think is what it's called. And then another area that the book talks about is online auctions. And it's perfect. It was a perfect business opportunity for the web. Of course, one that you're probably familiar with is eBay. And auctions have been around for, 500 BC. But eBay is one of the most popular ones. You have three different categories: general consumer, specialty consumer, and business to business auctions. Usually there's going to be some type of fee involved, which with eBay, you have registrations required. There's seller fees. There's a rating system. There's the seller has a risk, buyer has a risk. Most common format on eBay is what's called an English auction. That's the type of auction. And that's where a seller may set the reserve price. Bidders listed, and bids are not disclosed until the auction ends. And there's private auction options available. If you've never been on eBay, you can go on there. You don't have to register, but it's a nice little see, go through it, see, and do a search for something odd, and you'll probably find it on eBay. With that, that kind of brings us to the end here. So I will end this and see you next week for the next lesson. Thanks.